this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
During Memorial Day at Lowe's, shop household must-haves for less. Save $80 on a Charbroil Performance Series 4-burner grill to chef up something special. Plus, get up to 45% off select major appliances to keep things fresh. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details.
Visit your nearby Lowe's on East 17th Avenue in Hutchinson.
What's up, y'all? Summer's got a different tempo. Everything's a little looser, brighter. One plan turns into another. You hear something, you stay a little longer. Next thing you know, you're somewhere you didn't plan to be. It's those in-between moments. That's where the ideas hit. Conversations stretch out, little memories sneak up on you. And sometimes, it's just about what's in your hand. That color, that chill. The new Tropical Butterfly Refresher from Starbucks. Guava and passion fruit flavors with mango pineapple flavored pearls. Yeah, that feels like summer before you even taste it. Funny how one small stop becomes the best part of the day. Start your summer rhythm with Starbucks. Try the new Tropical Butterfly Refresher from Starbucks.
Hey everyone, it's Cal Penn. I'm inviting you to join the best-sounding book club you've ever heard with my podcast, Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club. Every episode, I nerd out with amazing guests and dive into the best new audiobooks available on Audible. It's the book club for your ears. Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you want to find a stress-free way to buy your next car? Start at CarMax and shop your way. And if you want to browse with confidence, get pre-qualified online with no impact on your credit score and shop cars within your budget. From luxury cars to family rides, CarMax has options for almost every price range, including more than 25,000 cars priced under $25,000. So, hey, want to get started? Just head to CarMax.com for details and get pre-qualified today. Want to drive? CarMax.
Welcome back to another episode of Between Us Doctors. I'm Dr. Terry Dubrow.
I'm Dr. Robert Schwartz.
And we're here to dispel all the BS out there about plastic surgery and talk about what to do, what not to do, and everything else fun and interesting about health, wellness, and beauty. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. You had big surgery today?
I had a big surgery. I had a big week. My birthday.
Oh, that's
and you know what a big celebration I make out of that.
Oh, that's right. You're just like me. You'd be happy if no one ever mentioned that you actually had. By the way, I've actually had birthdays, I guess since I met Heather, where no one knew it was my birthday, and it was like my favorite birthday, and no one mentioned happy birthday to me.
Oh, we went out to dinner, and you get there, and they go, "Oh, are you celebrating anything special?" And I just go, "No." And my son immediately rats me out. But it wasn't the kind of restaurant where they're all going to sing "Happy Birthday" or anything horrible.
So what was there? The cupcake with the candle, or
Yeah,
what?
there was like the dessert at the end.
Yeah.
Card restaurant. They already knew. They already knew they were testing.
Yeah.
Because the table was already set up. And I made the reservation, and I didn't tell them, so it must be in my profile or something.
Oh, how irritating. It's interesting, but I think as plastic surgeons, a lot of plastic surgery that people think about having, I think you might agree, is motivated by just the chronological numerical change in their age. Just the actual number itself, even as important as sort of what they're seeing in the mirror. Don't you agree?
Oh, completely. I think it triggers something, And look, I would have had a facelift by now.
By the way,
I totally would have done it by now, because who knows what's going on? I have no.
Well, it's interesting because we've talked a lot about male plastic surgery recently and how weird it is, particularly on the celebrities we've seen. But I just went on a super high-end vacation. Well, I'll just tell you where. I just went to St. Bart's. Okay, and you've never been to St. Bart's. I know you're not interested in going to St. Bart's, but
I'm not interested in going anywhere.
I know, but for anyone out there, if there are very few places in my opinion, that live up to the hype that everybody sort of has about them. Paris lives up to the hype. It really does for me. And I'm like you, I don't really like to travel. I don't like that many places. But when I get off the plane and I go to the Champs-Élysées and there's Paris and I just go, even though I'm not into it, this is really St. Bart's, okay, is one of those places. I have my friends, my wealthier friends have been talking about St. Bart's for all these years. And finally I was forced to go to a wedding there, Rob. And
wait, that's what this was?
No, this time was not but this is a few years ago for the first time I went. And this place completely, even if you're like us, okay, who are completely, totally not into vacation, this completely lives up to the hype. By the way, I'm going to bring this around to male plastic surgery. So hold on a second. This is going to make sense in a second. Okay. So the weirdest thing about this is you fly there to Saint Martin, which is like a bigger island, very close to St. Bart's, this little high-end French kind of island. But then you have to get on this, and everybody does this, no matter how wealthy you are, everybody does this. You get on this incredibly scary flying motorcycle kind of thing with this twin engine, and all the windshields are cracked, and it's a 9-minute flight from hell, where you take off from St. Martin, and you're over the water, okay, the moment you take off. And then as you come in, you have to go over a mountain. And immediately once you pass over that mountain, you have to like straight dive down like you're, World War II kamikaze pilot and go right to this really short runway. And if anyone has never seen the YouTube video of landing in St. Bart's, you've got to see it because it's so crazy scary. But anyway, it was an amazing vacation. But this is one of those high-end places where a lot of the women who are with the guys have had all the stuff done, and it's very on display. But a lot of the guys have had face, and I don't care how well it's executed. Okay, I can spot a male facelift across the room. So aren't you the same?
The only reason I hesitate is because if it's done well enough and it's done subtly enough, maybe not. It's the same thing like with women. What's like, the facelifts that you can all are spot are the ones that are kind of bad. Well, in some way. If it's really done, executed well, maybe there's some that I don't spot, but we can spot everything.
Okay, maybe that's my bias.
I can spot liposuction under clothing.
But here's the thing. If you're above 55 or 60 as a man, whether you've had a facelift or not, you look above 55 or 60.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So I immediately can tell if a man is above 55 or 60 or 65. If he has no laxity in his neck, then by definition, because I can tell he's that age, I know he's had a facelift. And immediately I start to look for the telltale signs of a facelift in a guy. And I don't know what it is. If it's because a guy, when our faces relax more rapidly, I think after a facelift than a girl, and you get that, we have deeper lines, relaxing skin tension lines and hair follicles. We immediately get that upon the earliest relaxation, which is typically what, 3 to 8 months. We immediately, maybe because I'm a plastic surgeon, you tell me if this is, not true. I immediately see a weird sort of positional alteration of the skin and the way it drapes, and it just looks weird. What do you think?
I think you're right. And I think part of it is the heavier skin, that men have the thicker skin that we have, that when it starts to unwind a little bit, and look, I don't know if everyone notices it this way, but I think, trained plastic surgeons see sort of the mismatch in the various parts of the face. That it just doesn't, something seems off, even if you can't figure out what it is right away. Something seems off. Also, I think you see a lot more women with facelifts. So you kind of, in a way, get more used to that look, even if it's not 100% natural. Whereas with men, you don't see nearly as many, and I think they just stand out.
I think you're right. I think 95% of men over the age of 60 not get faced. Okay. Whereas, at least in our worlds, I'm sure Dallas, LA, New York, Miami, 90 plus 5+% of the people of women get faceless over the age of 55 or 60 or 65. So laxity in a woman looks sort of noticeable, but the absence of laxity in a man looks weird. Don't you agree with that analysis, or do you?
I think part of the problem is a little bit of laxity in a man as you get older gives you sort of that gravitas, and it gives you a better look. And when you take that away in a man that's clearly older, something seems off. It makes a man almost seem immature. It's weird. It's just, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit for a man. And I've considered getting one, and I'm not opposed to it. And I don't think it's a bad idea for men, but I think if I was a man getting one, I'd want to go to someone who understands I want less. A little bit. Less is more. Don't do my eyelids. Don't do 10 things at once. Just do the lower face and neck and call it a day.
By the way, I remember, yeah. So I think you're right. I obviously could use a facelift. I have laxity in my neck area along my jawline. But if I were to have one, I would say leave laxity. Leave it. I want to have loose. I want you to have, when we've done these wonderful facelifts, then 2 years later they come back and they have a little laxity in their neck and they're like totally unhappy. I want to have that look the third month. I want to be like, I could use a little tightening by the third month already. Because if you have a little bit of laxity, it's like if you take a bump off someone's nose. If you leave a little bump, which everyone who hasn't had a rhinoplasty has naturally a little bump, the dorsal convexity, right? If you leave a little bump on a rhinoplasty, they don't look like they've had a rhinoplasty, generally speaking.
Yeah,
but
a little imperfection hides
a little imperfection, but of course,
look, I think for women, obviously you want to get any facelift right, okay? But if you're going to err one way or another with a woman, you can probably go a little over aggressive. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
With a man, you cannot do that. You have to err on the side of under aggressive.
Yeah, I mean,
aggressive facelift in a man is feminizing and never looks good. And particularly when you overdo the upper eyelids, it just looks wrong.
That is the single biggest mistake that every plastic surgeon is making on these celebrities. Stop operating on their upper lids, or if you're going to do it, leave a lot. Okay, I think that we've mentioned this before. That goes without saying. First couple we met, the woman had just a weird facelift, and the guy still had scabs on his chin and behind his ears. So if that, of course, is like, oh my God. But zero laxity in a 68, 70-year-old guy is just weird. So this is interesting. I just got a notification on my Instagram that Rosie O'Donnell, 64, gosh, O'Donnell's younger than me. But anyway, reveals that she got a secret facelift that costs more than I have ever paid for a car, which means Rosie O'Donnell is very rich. Okay, she was a talk show host in the day when talk show hosts made millions. So I'm sure she got one of those $350,000 facelifts. And when I look at her, and I'm not going to be critical, okay, because I think Rosie O'Donnell's awesome. But it's interesting. If you look at this is sort of what we were talking about. This is kind of, she has very thick skin, almost sort of masculine type, very thick, sebaceous type skin. And when you look at this photo, she looks good. She looks so, I think she looks good. Okay. But having said that, if you look at this photo of her, she's got sort of this unnatural kind of laxity, particularly around the oral commissures, which are basically the cheeks on each side. And she still has some laxity in the neck, which I think is good for a man. But this is, I wonder if she's happy with this. This is interesting. Look, I would never put down any plastic surgeon's work. Okay. I mean, I'm the botch doctor and I've done, 10 seasons of operating on disaster complications. And I've never put down any particular doctor. Okay. Even when I suspect that there's been negligence, because you never have all the facts. You never want to say that. But like, I wonder if she's happy with this, because this looks, you don't see this kind of laxity existing in nature. And this is what I would be really afraid of, having a face of. The good news is this. I think with artificial intelligence, and I really believe this, and I watch this so closely. I'm obsessed with what's happening in health, wellness, and beauty related to artificial intelligence. I really believe if you can just hang till about 2030, which is what, 3.5 years away, there are going to be solutions to these things that aren't going to require sort of major surgery. I really think we're going to solve a lot of these skin laxity, aging problems without having to cut you open like it's 1950, dissect your tissue like you're a fish. We're lifting up the scales and pull it back and whack it off and stitch you up with, sutures like, we're scalping you or something. I mean, just hang. You hang a little bit longer, you may be able to benefit. And I really believe it's going to happen from skin tightening, health, wellness, and rejuvenating procedures without this incredibly barbaric things we plastic surgeons.
Starting a GLP-1 weight loss journey, I fully support anyone who chooses this path, as I've seen my husband benefit greatly from it. Ro will make your GLP-1 journey simple. It's 100% online, so no in-person visits. You get access to clinically proven FDA-approved medications, plus a free insurance check up front, and you're not on your own. There's ongoing support for side effects, dosing, and progress along the way. It's not just treatment, it's guided, personalized care every step of the way. Ro offers the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss at the lowest cost around. The new GLP-1 pill has the same weight loss ingredient as the shot and packs comparable results to the shot. That's one daily pill for fewer cravings and feeling fuller with an innovative new formula. The new FDA-approved GLP-1 pill is available at $149 for the first dose, in addition to your Ro membership fee and $299 a month for the higher doses. The Ro Body membership includes access to FDA-approved GLP-1s, unlimited provider messaging, side effect management, and more, all for just $45 for your first month and $145 a month thereafter. The Ro membership fee excludes the cost of GLP-1 medication. In addition to the newly approved pill, Ro also offers a full suite of the most effective brand name FDA-approved GLP-1s, all at the lowest cost. Ro offers the lowest cost GLP-1s, whether you're using insurance or paying cash. After your first online visit, if you're eligible for treatment, you could expect to start your medication in less than a week if paying cash, or about 2 weeks if using insurance. Go to ro.co/between to see if you're eligible for the new GLP-1 pill on Ro. That's ro.co/between to get started on Ro. Go to ro.co/safety for box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medication.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Hey everyone, it's Cal Penn. I'm the host of Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club. This week on the podcast, I am sitting down with Ray Porter, the narrator of Andy Weir's audiobook Project Hail Mary, massive sci-fi adventure about survival and science and what happens when you wake up alone very far from Earth.
I really had to make a decision because I caught myself getting that frog in my throat and starting to get teary as I'm narrating some of these sections. And it's like, okay, yo, is this indulgent? And I really thought about it. I was like, no, at this point, it would kind of be betraying the trust the author and the listener have in telling this story if I don't go through it. But there's places in this book that deeply emotionally affected me, and I left it on the mic.
That's great.
Because it served the story. People will say like, oh my God, I cried at the end. It's like, yeah, dude, me too.
Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The next 30 seconds could save you hundreds on your car insurance. At The Hartford, we're passionate about your protection. If you're 50 or over, AARP Auto Insurance from The Hartford gives you benefits that really matter. And you could save $597 when you switch. How's that for a little peace of mind? Visit trusthartford.com today. The Hartford, your protection is our passion. The Hartford Insurance Group, Inc. pays royalty fees to AARP for the use of its intellectual property. AARP and its affiliates are not insurers. Savings vary.
Yeah. So check this out. I've noticed since I've done a podcast with you last, there's been a lot of plastic surgery stuff that has come out that people are asking us about. Listen to this one. Okay. The one you and I sort of were texting back and forth about. There's this woman who had plastic surgery, okay, because she didn't want her kids to look the way she looks naturally. So she wanted to alter herself so that when she passed down her genes to her offspring, they would be better looking.
I think there's bigger concerns here in terms of what she might be passing down.
Well, she should pass down biology and evolution lessons because I think she missed that day in high school or college.
Yeah, I think this is I don't think you even need AI. I think this is just a fast Google.
By the way, so everyone who's listening knows you can't alter your genetics by altering your phenotype, by changing the structure of your face. If you have a big nose, you're going to send that down to your kids. You're going to send it down whether you do. I think everyone naturally knows this. But there is actually a new drug out that's FDA approved that if you inject it into yourself, it's got that CRISPR technology into it, and it does alter your genome so it lowers your cholesterol permanently. Have you ever heard of this, Rob?
I've heard about this.
Brand new.
I wouldn't be lining up to be the first on my block.
Well, I wouldn't do it, but if you had, familial hypercholesterolemia or something that was really radical and you couldn't control it, I truly believe, that very soon we are going to be able to inject things that are going to change our genome, that will change our phenotype. Think about this. If you can inject something that changes the cholesterol bearing producing genes, right, in permanently, why can't you inject something like the CRISPR version of that peptide, GHK-Cu, right, that permanently changes, alterates, stimulates how you make collagen and give you tighter, better skin? I think this is coming. I really do.
I think it's absolutely coming. We should probably be clear that so when we say genotype, it means your genes themselves. When you say phenotype, it's the expression of those genes, sort of what they do. So
that's
if it's
right.
The genes. So in other words, if it's like the genes for your collagen, it's the way your skin looks in terms of thickness, elasticity, and all those sort of things. So
right.
Yeah, you can. If you change the genes, you can change the expression. You can change all of these things. You can fix disease. You can do all of this. The point of this story is it doesn't work the other way around. You can't, you don't get to get a rhinoplasty and it changes your nose gene. It doesn't
right. Remember
do that.
So Darwin was right. Lamarck, wasn't his name Lamarck? Lamarck, right? Lamarckian theory of evolution. Hey, so listen to this. There's another one. Check this out. Kate Cassidy was stopped by TSA because she had altered her appearance so much that they didn't recognize her photo. Is that incredible?
Is that what TSA is catching these days? Really?
I mean, think about it. People, by the way, if you're having such,
does she look that? I don't know. I haven't seen. Does she look that different?
I mean, well, it's funny. There's a certain look in plastic surgery. If you have too much, then everybody starts to look very similar. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that?
Yeah,
There's
it's the over filler look.
It's the plastic surgery face. There's zero laxity. The
Yeah.
brows are very high. There's no upper eyelid skin. The lips
Yeah.
are big, and the
Huge.
nose is very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
and very often the upper cheeks are really full, like almost like a lion-like look.
So Heather and I are very good friends with Brooke Shields. We love Brooke and her husband. Okay, her husband's like incredibly funny, amazing guy. Our kids knew each other from little kids, and Brooke has recently come out, Shields, and said she has not had plastic surgery yet because for one simple reason. What do you think that reason is? It's kind of an interesting reason.
Facelift is $300,000. She's got that.
I think Brooke Shields could. You know what it is?
Yeah.
Brooke Shields said she is too scared
to undergo the surgery. Of the surgery itself or the results of the surgery?
No, I think she's too scared of the surgery itself. Now, it's funny because every once in a while, I don't know, I'm sure you've had this, I will come in, and I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm getting up early because I have a full day that I have to get a whole bunch of patients in. And a patient will say to me, I'll say, how you doing? And I try to make them laugh, make them comfortable. Mm-hmm. And they go, I'm super nervous. And I go, really? Why? They go, I just have a bad feeling about this. What do you do when your patients say, I have a bad feeling about this the morning of?
I've never had any.
Really?
Not that. No, I've had I'm very nervous. And I tell them that, being nervous before surgery is totally normal. The people that freak me out a little are the people who aren't nervous at all. Those people are a little weird. But I've never had anyone actually say I have a bad feeling about it. I think I know how I'd handle it. I'd ask them, well, what exactly, I'd kind of drill down on this and try to figure out what we're at so I can reassure them on.
So what
or
if they
there
said
is something really that they're having a bad feeling about, like, chest pain. Kind of one.
No. What if they said, I don't know, I'm really scared. I have a weird bad feeling about it.
Yeah.
You would just reassure them and move on?
I'd make sure that the bad feeling is just that, just nerves before surgery. Because that's, normal people are nervous before surgery. People who aren't nervous at all, unless they've had, lots of surgeries in the past, chronic illness or a lot of plastic surgery or something, like people are undergoing, general anesthesia for the first time or only had a little bit more. It's normal to be nervous. I mean, I had surgery, 10 years ago. I was nervous going into it, and but
it's funny. So when I have colonoscopy, when I have surgery, when I have things, I actually don't get I don't get nervous. I guess because I'm so comfortable in the hospital setting. I think a lot of people are having surgery the day of. They're super nervous because it's such a weird, unusual, unique environment that they're not used to. And
I don't know. I knew the hospital setting, and I still, like, going into surgery, I tweaked my will the day before. I don't know. And I knew, like, and also it turns out that, coming in and out of anesthesia, I'm obnoxious.
Oh, really? Well,
really?
By the way,
I know, stunning.
I'm stunningly goofy, as you could imagine. When I go, I mean, I'm like dad jokes on steroids. I think everything, and I think I'm so funny. I guess what I do is my defense mechanism when things are hitting the fan or when patients are really nervous is to try to make them laugh. So that I guess maybe when I'm concerned or nervous about myself, trying to make the nurses
you go into that mode.
I go into that mode.
Yeah.
And I become incredibly jokey, ridiculously so. Right.
I think I'm under anesthesia is kind of the way I am when I drink, is I actually get quieter. But as we were, the last thing I remember as we're rolling into the OR, as I'm kind of going out, right, I'm kind of just looking up. And the last thing I remember saying was, oh, this is a small OR, isn't it?
Oh, God.
To the whole team that's about to operate on me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
those were my words.
Well, so maybe I'm just a little, too Buddhist or karma or whatever my vibe is. But if a patient says to me, I have a bad feeling about this, I am canceling the operation. I am it is over. I don't care. Yep, I don't care.
No matter what that bad feeling was about?
I mean, they have to talk me out of it. They have to try really. I go, why? They go, I don't know. I just have this weird bad feeling. I go, you know what? Let's do this tomorrow. Let's do this next week. Let's not do this today.
How many times have you had to do this?
I've probably done it 4 or 5 times, to the point where one person, no, it's okay. It's okay, guy. No, it's not okay. Now you're freaking me out. And I don't know. I mean, I guess the reason is because I do mostly, more than most revisional, impossible,
big, long surgeries.
Yes, that a lot of them have said to me, I had the weirdest feeling before the surgery. So that's had an outsized effect on that comment on me. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's probably pretty reasonable that I react that way. But I mean, if you had a really bad feeling before a trip, even if you planned the trip, would you still go?
I wouldn't plan it.
All right. Besides your predilection not to travel anywhere, not to leave
or
the
not
house.
going anywhere. I don't know. I'd probably go.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely do things where I will leave a situation if I feel like something is off, right? I've been in a restaurant where someone was acting weird and I got just a weird vibe that something was going to happen and I've just left.
Yes.
There's a really good book on that called The Gift of Fear by a guy named Gavin DeBecker. You've probably read it.
Is he the private eye?
Yeah, he's like a security guy. Yeah. So you have to separate his whole other persona from this book. The book is actually really excellent. Talking about what your gut instinct is about and trusting your awareness in situations that don't seem right and acting on them.
Okay, so
that's happened numerous times.
So you're making the case for, to a certain degree, if a patient has a significantly enough bad feeling, you maybe not to be. I think.
Obviously they should act on it. I think you're justified in that. I think depending on what it is, I would be asking what it is, right? If it got down to something where it was I just feel there's a bad omen or something, I'd probably do the same thing you're doing. Because who wants to go into surgery that way?
Yeah. Okay.
I've just never had that exact thing happen.
Okay. Last we spoke about this clavicular look maxing thing. I'm sure you've become a lot more familiar and your phone has picked it up and showing you more on social media.
Yeah, he's a delightful guy.
Isn't he?
He's real.
By the way, you see he ragged on...
He's a neat guy.
You see he ragged on Sydney Sweeney and said that she has, a negative... by the way, he's looked up enough that he sort of knows our lingo a little bit, that, the maxilla is deficient and a negative vector, therefore she has too much scleral show. He actually said those words, and I'm going, okay, that doesn't make you smart clavicular, it just makes the fact that you're obsessed with looking of,
Look, he obviously looked up clavicular.
Yeah, I know. So Sydney Sweeney not being classically beautiful, really? I think Sydney Sweeney is ridiculous. You?
Yeah, I don't even know why
I know it's ridiculous.
Why we're even discussing.
Okay,
what the idiot influencer of the moment has to say about Sweeney.
Well, this thing that just came up on my social media is ball maxing, okay?
What?
Where it's a risky new trend where men are inflating their testicles. Okay? Yeah, to try to get them grapefruit-sized testicles is the new benchmark of masculinity. Ball maxing is taking the internet by storm as men pump their scrotums to outlandish proportions.
With what?
So, it's got to be filler, right? What else could it be? Got to be. Well, how long is that going to last?
I don't know, but when you pee, it's really high pitched.
I mean, if you inject your testicles
Why would you?
with helium,
You can't do that. Don't do that.
when you ejaculate,
Yeah.
will it go? I mean, is that like a thing? By the way, I don't think that'd be a turn on for your partner, would it?
Huge. The ladies
Huge.
love that. The ladies love a high-pitched ejaculate.
By the way, ball maxing. You know what's pathetic? I'm
Well,
watching. I'm
It's
watching.
pathetic that we
These,
live in a society where that word even exists.
yeah, it's
Go
funny.
get a job. Go get a real job.
I know.
Go
I'm
go
watching
work some
the-
construction or something. Stop maxing your balls. Get out of your house.
That's a good point. All right, what else?
And
Here-
who wants that? What is the point?
of ball maxing.
Mm-hmm. Is he doing this?
I don't think Clavicular's doing it yet.
Yeah.
But by the way, speaking
Yeah.
of clavicular, you see there's a few people in Beverly Hills, one in particular who will go unnamed. He's a plastic surgeon who has done all these operations on ribs and clavicles on men in order to
Yeah.
maximize their torso dimensions. And that stuff, serious danger. Okay. I mean, I've seen some incredible complications. Guys, don't ball max. Don't have your clavicles whacked on. Is it weird that I
No.
said ball max and whacked on, right in a row? Is that little?
You've never said those two things in that context.
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah. I mean, in the same sentence, yeah, you've said that a lot.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Hey everyone, it's Cal Penn. I'm the host of Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club. This week on the podcast, I am sitting down with Ray Porter, the narrator of Andy Weir's audiobook Project Hail Mary, massive sci-fi adventure about survival and science and what happens when you wake up alone very far from Earth.
I really had to make a decision because I caught myself getting that frog in my throat and starting to get teary as I'm narrating some of these sections. And it's like, okay, is this indulgent? And I really thought about it. I was like, no, at this point, it would kind of be betraying the trust the author and the listener have in telling this story if I don't go through it. But there's places in this book that deeply emotionally affected me, and I left it on the mic.
That's great.
Because it served the story. People will say like, oh my God, I cried at the end. It's like, yeah, dude, me too.
Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The next 30 seconds could save you hundreds on your car insurance. At The Hartford, we're passionate about your protection. If you're 50 or over, AARP Auto Insurance from The Hartford gives you benefits that really matter. And you could save $597 when you switch. How's that for a little peace of mind? Visit trusthartford.com today. The Hartford, your protection is our passion. The Hartford Insurance Group, Inc. pays royalty fees to AARP for the use of its intellectual property. AARP and its affiliates are not insurers. Savings vary.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is another question we got. All right.
Uh-huh.
Altering your face so much that your TSA doesn't recognize you anymore.
So how many? So if the TSA doesn't recognize you and you're her, right? How many followers do you have to just not have to go through? Get enough followers, can you just bypass the line?
By the way, you know what's funny? So Heather and I will walk up to a desk at a hotel, right?
Right.
Or we'll get in an elevator, and people act like, "Oh, hi, how are you? Where are you from?" And we're going, "Mm-hmm." I mean, at this point, I think if you're between the ages of 30 and 55, and unless you live, out of the country, you know who Heather and Terry Dubrow are, don't you think? At this point, does that sound crazily narcissistic? Or is it just
both
me?
things can be true.
Both things are true, probably.
Yes.
And then they can I see your ID? And I'm thinking, really have to see my ID? I'm Terry effing Dubrow. Isn't that enough? And then I think to myself, I know that's, by the way, I'm kidding about that, but I think to myself, when Brad Pitt, goes up, when Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, when they walk up to a hotel and the clerk, the receptionist says, "Can I see your ID?" You know that you have to show your ID
Do
before
they
you check
even
in the
walk
room.
up to check in at that level?
Oh, maybe they don't even check
Isn't
in.
that
Somebody
just
doesn't for them.
handled? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Why don't you have this handled for you?
We have an
You should have this
incredible-
handled for you.
We have, well, they have away people. I remember when I was talking to somebody who we were interviewing as an assistant once, and they had been an assistant for like Tom Brady and his ex-wife, I think, Giselle. They had a team of away people who would go to the resort and set up the toiletry and the towels and the sheets and the food and all the things and make sure everything in the room worked like days before they got there. Would that be the best? Imagine leading a life like that. Oh, that's
still
not your
not
thing.
going anywhere. Not even with
Yeah.
my away people would go, they'd set it all up, and then I wouldn't show up.
All right. In 2025, Utah ranked number 3 in terms of the number of searches per capita for plastic surgery. Listen to this. According to a BYU study, nearly 14% of Mormons surveyed had major cosmetic surgery and 20% had cosmetic enhancements. That, I think, is really unexpected. Don't
Who were
you?
number 1 and 2?
I'm sure it's, in
Like
terms of states.
Yeah, well, Utah. I'd say California probably number 1, don't you think?
California 1 and Florida
Right,
2, don't you
Texas
think?
2. But I get a fair number of revision, breast augmentation, and tummy tuck cases from Utah.
But you know what?
Look, if you want to leave Utah, right, and you're going to head, it's just basic for something more involved. You're going to either go to California or you're going to go to Texas.
But you know what's interesting? So you look at the numbers I just stated, right? 14% of Mormons had major cosmetic surgery. That seems rather low to me.
In your neighborhood.
Well, what percent?
I don't know. What's the national average of people who've had cosmetic surgery? I don't even know.
Well, but so what percent of people of Beverly Hillians have had major cosmetic surgery?
Oh, it's over 100%.
Because their children have had it.
It's mandatory. They don't let you in.
You get your plastic surgery ticket with graduating Beverly Hills High School, right?
I think before then, will they let you graduate if you haven't even at least had some Botox or something?
I would think so.
It's like, oh, you're a senior, but I could make you look like a sophomore.
By the way, so there's this ridiculous new trend of plastic surgeons advocating super young faces, like board certified plastic surgeons advocating and showing photos of girls in their 20s having facelifts.
Mid facelift or
facelifts,
like regular facelift?
The full-blown snatched jawline facelift. Oh yeah, 100%.
How different can the before and after be on someone in their 20s, other than attractive and youthful before, attractive, youthful, and vaguely weird after.
I mean, the ones
Or
I've
same
seen,
person plus scars around the ear.
yeah,
How different can you possibly be?
yeah. I
I mean,
think
you have no jowls, you have no neck laxity, you have,
Right.
Whatever jawline you have that jawline. Your plastic. What are they taking submandibular glands on
Oh,
23-year-olds too? Are we doing that now?
yes. Hey, did we talk about the new study that came out in plastic and reconstructive surgery that looked at? We talked about this that looked at deep plane versus other kinds of facelifts. We talked about this last time.
We talked about it, you and I, but we didn't talk about it on this.
So there is a new study in our #1 journal called PRS, Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, that looked retrospectively, which already tells you it's suspicious, but retrospectively at
Well, it's the only way you can do it in plastic.
that's true. That looked retrospectively at literally thousands of patients, comparing the deep plane to the SMAS or some variation of the SMAS, to see what was the superior facelift, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't surprised at the results, but why don't you summarize the results as you know them?
Well, the results were that the technique didn't so much matter as the surgeon who did it. That you can
Yeah.
get basically the same quality of results. As best you can judge something like this because it's highly subjective. You get the same quality of results, same longevity, and really the difference in results wasn't so much the technique that you used. It was the skill and judgment and vision and aesthetic eye of the surgeon who did it. And not shockingly, good surgeons get good results and bad surgeons tend to get worse results, regardless of which technique they use. And this kind of makes sense because, people like, I don't know if it's my feed. You and I have talked about this so much, but my feed is just full of plastic surgery, and it's really
Not me.
kind of exhausting of them going back and forth arguing their different face techniques. And I think you and I I think it was the last one where we talked about submandibular gland excision. I think it triggered a wave of this because the next week after that, there were a number of prominent plastic surgeons arguing this like vehemently. And I hadn't seen that on my feed before. So I think maybe we touched the purpose. But
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
First of all,
to
the
think that-
SMAS technique that people describe isn't that different from the deep plane. It
No.
really isn't. These things,
just-
they make it seem like they're wildly different. And it's not worth going into here, the differences between them. They're not really that different. A well-executed face is going to look good, and a poorly executed face is going to look bad. That's it.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you agree with that's the summary of what they found?
Right, that's exactly what they found. Which, if you think about it, that if you're going to someone just because they do a deep plane, and the only reason that plastic surgeon is doing a deep plane because they think that's the best marketing tool, and that's not necessarily the operation that they're the most experienced at, all you're really maximizing is risk. You're risk maxing because it's no question, a deep plane facelift is swollen for longer, and you're closer to the nerves as you dissect further in more medially, as you're getting more towards the center of the face.
Yeah.
It is a higher risk. Now, of course, it's funny. When my social media comes across, a plastic surgeon will come across, I immediately throw it away because I don't want to start seeing nothing but plastic. I want to stick to my animated cats, and
you can have both.
No, I don't want to see plastic surgeon, but I did see this one plastic surgeon who gets there. He goes, I've been doing a deep plane facelift. By the way, he had a weird face. Okay. I've been doing a deep plane facelift for 38 years. And I'm thinking, no, you haven't. It hasn't been around 38 years.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah. What?
No.
I mean,
it started
Hamra.
early
Sam
90s.
Hamra.
Early
In-
90s, Sam Hamra, right. And
Your guy in Dallas.
Sam Hamra, who I trained with and I've seen operate. And and Sam Hamra would tell people at the time that, his facelift, it takes about a year for it to really heal and look good. Well, okay. And I remember thinking at the time as a resident, well, I'm not going to do that. It's the kind of thing you can get away with when you're already Sam Hammer. It's not the kind of thing you can get away with when you're in your first year in practice. Terrible idea.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Hey everyone, it's Cal Penn. I'm the host of Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club. This week on the podcast, I am sitting down with Ray Porter, the narrator of Andy Weir's audiobook Project Hail Mary, massive sci-fi adventure about survival and science and what happens when you wake up alone very far from Earth.
I really had to make a decision because I caught myself getting that frog in my throat and starting to get teary as I'm narrating some of these sections. And it's like, okay, is this indulgent? And I really thought about it. I was like, no, at this point, it would kind of be betraying the trust the author and the listener have in telling this story if I don't go through it. But there's places in this book that deeply emotionally affected me, and I left it on the mic.
That's great.
Because it served the story. People will say like, oh my God, I cried at the end. It's like, yeah, dude, me too.
Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The next 30 seconds could save you hundreds on your car insurance. At The Hartford, we're passionate about your protection. If you're 50 or over, AARP Auto Insurance from The Hartford gives you benefits that really matter. And you could save $597 when you switch. How's that for a little peace of mind? Visit trusthartford.com today. The Hartford, your protection is our passion. The Hartford Insurance Group, Inc. pays royalty fees to AARP for the use of its intellectual property. AARP and its affiliates are not insurers. Savings vary.
Introducing Taco Bell's new sweet and spicy jalapeno citrus salsa. Made with bright citrus and real red jalapenos. You can get it with anything on the Cantina chicken menu for a delicious, tangy twist to make all your faves instantly better. And while jalapeno citrus salsa is only available for a limited time, know this: jalapeno citrus salsa demands the spotlight. It's the sauce with main character energy. Get jalapeno citrus salsa with anything on the Cantina chicken menu for a limited time, only at Taco Bell, at participating locations while supplies last.
Okay, look at this. New York plastic surgeon operated on his entire family, even gave his sister a quote-unquote boob job. Wow. So how do you feel about that? You know, it's funny because Paul Nassif, who's a great guy, is very comfortable operating on his family and friends. Would you operate on your family?
I won't.
Yeah, I will only operate on family and friends. They have a very unique, difficult problem that just because of my unique practice that I feel I'm probably done more than almost anyone else. Like if someone had synmastia, the uniboob, I would fix that because I don't know. I mean, I know you can fix it, but I can really fix it in like 20 minutes, mostly.
Or your money.
You know,
back.
I've done it. No, well, no, or I'll try it again.
You need to have that guarantee in there if you're going to fix it in 20 minutes.
No, what I'm saying, you know, I have done that.
Any number of breaths, fixed in 20 minutes, or it's free.
Well, I think that I have done synmastia repair more than I'm in the 99th percentile for that operation. You know, that I mean, obviously synmastia is very uncommon. So big deal.
What's
that
your
doesn't make me so
technique
special.
on
It's
that?
just that so I do the, you know, I do whatever it takes but I build a wall made out of something. So if I can do a neo subpectoral pocket kind of thing, I do that. But I will flip up the pectoralis minor. Yeah, that works really well. And that's like not even in any textbook and no one's ever done it. But I do it because I know how to.
That is a good one.
Yeah, I flip that sucker up right there and build a wall on each side, and that one never breaks down. So, yeah.
There's almost always something you can use.
There's, we call it hunyak surgery, right? You just get in there and you hunyak that thing together.
I'll tell you what you don't want to do on that.
What?
Synthetic.
Oh.
Which seems to be the preferred fix of choice for these things. Terrible idea.
Particularly the thin skin, throwing mesh immediately under the thin skin right above the sternum, the breastbone. If there's any kind of odd healing or any further atrophy or any kind of weird alteration in wound physiology, you're going to see the mesh, and someone like me is going to have to go dig it out. And now you got,
which can don't let's. No, because it's like you got the combination of thin skin, foreign body, second foreign body, all next to each other.
Yeah. All right. I guess we should talk before we end this. Let's talk about this new technique that's being touted, where you make a little incision. Let's not name the technique. Why don't we do that? But people can figure it out. All right.
You don't want to name it?
You can name it. I'm not going to name it in case they want me to they want to hire me to be a brand ambassador for a lot of money.
So let me see if I have this straight. We're going to speak, I imagine, very frankly about this technique right now, but you're not going to name it just in case after what we're about to say, they want to go, he's a good spokesman for us. That's the plan?
Yeah, maybe
you can
that's
say it. They're not going to come to you after this.
No, they're not. So there's a new.
Would you really want to, anyways?
It depends how much money. No, I'm kidding. There's a new technique that is being touted as the new thing in breast augmentation. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereby you make a very, very small incision, and people are doing it potentially even under local anesthesia, not even general. Okay.
It's supposed to be done under local anesthesia.
Yeah. So you make a very small incision, you dissect like a half an inch, and then you put a balloon dissector and you expand up the balloon dissector.
Yeah.
Above the muscle, which used to be, by the way, verboten until this procedure came out. All of a sudden it's okay to go.
There's a lot of things that it's like, this is the latest thing, but in fact, it's really the 1970s of breast augmentation. And you know what? I'm not looking for a brand deal. Preservé, the Preservé breast augmentation. That's what we're talking about. Preservé.
Oh, wow. You really just want to put it out there, huh?
I'm putting it out there. I think it is a terrible idea. And I will simply say that. I know you didn't hear me say the word, so you don't know what it is.
So why do you think it's such a terrible idea?
Okay. First of all, these are the things they tout about the Preservé breast augmentation. And by the way, let me be clear here, okay? Just in case there's a brand deal in the offing here. I've got no issue with the implants behind it, the Motiva. I love Motiva implants.
I love them.
I think they're great implants.
I love
They're
them.
promoting this Preservé. I think that's a whole separate thing. Implants are one thing. There's no reason not to get Motiva implants. I'm not a big fanboy of any particular implant. As far as I'm concerned, it's a bag of gel. They can only be so different. And I'm perfectly happy with all the results I get, and I've used pretty much every implant that's out there. So that's not the issue. The issue is this technique where they say, first of all, it's minimally invasive. Okay, every breast augmentation is minimally invasive. They go, we do it through an incision this big. Well, the incision, on audio, I'm showing my fingers. Okay, they say it's through about a 1-inch incision. Well, the incision for a standard breast augmentation is about 1.25 inches. Wow. Not a big difference. And by the way, the reason the incision for a breast augmentation is the size that it is because there's data from the manufacturers that if you make the incision smaller, you potentially damage the shell of the implants, putting them in because you're squeezing them through too narrow an opening. To my knowledge, using a balloon on a stick doesn't change the physics of that. So that's the first issue with it. The second is, and feel free to join in and, crap.
No, you're doing so well.
All right. Because
I'm holding out for
I
the
would
brand.
not endorse this under any circumstance.
I'm holding out for the brand offer from Motiva, which I love their implants.
I'm happy to
Go
talk
ahead.
about their implants, but I would not. Nah, I just wouldn't. So then, after you've made your 1/4 inch smaller incision, instead of dissecting precisely like a surgeon, you shove a stick in under the breast and above the muscle. Okay, so, they go, well, this is far more precise. Yes, because the stick shove is always more precise than the surgery.
Oh, no. It's the, wait for it,
Yes.
circummammary ligament.
Oh, but we're not there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, we're not.
It's
We're
the-
not
it's
at.
that-
We're
by
not
the way,
at.
Thereby, the definition, thereby the name of the procedure.
Yes,
It's
the
a
preserve. As we preserve the circummammary ligament. You know what? I can't have enough disdain for this. So then you shove in the balloon on a stick and blow up the balloon. And I literally see plastic surgeons promoting this on their social media going, this is a more precise way to make the pocket. Really?
By the
So
way,
you're saying that inflating a balloon being inflated is a better surgeon than you are.
well, on that note, that was extraordinarily fun as always. Very, very interesting. And, I love you. And you're like not only one of my best friends, you are my best friend, and you're my most brilliant friend. It's always good to have that one super brilliant friend. That's you. And I know a lot of brilliant people.
You're that for me.
Well, I don't know about brilliant,
So-
but I'm certainly very close. to
Well,
it, so thank you.
there's a reason we've been friends for 40 years, right? We've had a lifetime of these kind of fun conversations.
That's true. And we'll have many, many more. So listen, to all of you who are interested in other topics in plastic surgery, health, wellness, and beauty, and you want advice, leave your comments below, wherever that is. And we will see you again very, very soon.
Hey everyone, it's Cal Penn. I'm inviting you to join the best-sounding book club you've ever heard with my podcast, Hearsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club. Every episode, I nerd out with amazing guests and dive into the best new audiobooks available on Audible. It's the book club for your ears. Listen to Hearsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Paramount Plus is now the home of all your BET favorites.
What? Yes!
With all new episodes of Tyler Perry's Divorce Sisters.
You've always liked a little drama.
Plus a whole new world of movies like Gladiator 2.
Now I will control an empire.
Original series like The Chi.
Just make sure we protect each other.
And live sports like UFC.
Welcome to the history books!
New home, same family. Your BET favorites are now on Paramount Plus. Subscribe now.
Here's the truth. You could literally be adored by everyone and then come home and still get completely ignored by your own cat. It's classic cat behavior. But new Sheba Premium Puree is a lickable treat that changes all that. They're protein-rich, made with bone broth, and have the smooth, creamy texture cats go crazy for, especially when it's hand-fed. Yeah, it's more than a treat. It's a fast pass to favorite human status. So feed your cat Sheba and go from totally ignored to truly adored in just 12 days, guaranteed, or your money back. Learn more at Sheba.com.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.